Hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to build a pan and tilt kit. This is code for what's inside of me, my skeleton. It allows me to pan and tilt. In your box of supplies to construct this pan and tilt kit, you'll find a needle nose pliers, an Allen wrench, which actually, this one's a really tiny one, but it's a hexagonal, it has a hexagonal shaft. You'll find a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. You will also find some more hardware, such as a C-shaped servo bracket, a multi-purpose servo bracket that these two servos that are in your box fit in here in a special way, and we'll talk about how to do that in a minute. Those are servo brackets. You will find 4 push pin fasteners that look like this, and they actually go in here in the multi-purpose service bracket like that. You'll see that in a minute. You'll find 4 size number 2 screws, and these are used to attach the servo horns to the brackets. So once again, this is a servo horn, this white disc shape, and these number 2 screws, in fact, they might even be called wood screws, because if you look at their tip, that's for screwing into wood, and these number 2 screws go in these servo horns like that when you're constructing the kit. And then you'll also find a washer, just a donut shape, a 3/8 inch screw. I don't know if it has a flat, I guess it's just a screw. And then an acorn shaped, or an acorn lock nut, and those 3 components go together too. Some other things you'll find in your box are a servo tester and a battery pack, so when you construct your kit you can test it out. This is also good for placing servos in the neutral position, which we need to talk about. And then you also have your your servo that controls your mouthpiece, and that's already put together for you, and that attaches actually to a servo bracket as well. Okay, the first thing you want to do is connect one of your servos to the servo tester, and you want to make sure that your servo is in neutral position. So when you put the bracket on, if it's in neutral, it can go all the way to the left and all the way to the right, so it has its full range of motion. So if you connect all this and you move it to neutral, boop, that's how we know it's in the neutral position. If it's not, you snap this servo horn off, and I would line up these 3 holes where it's going to connect. Oh, nope, that's off a little bit. Okay, when we have it in neutral position, we want to screw our servo horn down. Okay, now we take our multi-purpose servo bracket, not the C-shaped, but the other one, and we want to place it in line, basically, like the long way, vertically, on top of our servo. And we want to take 2 number 2 screws right here and screw in this multi-purpose servo bracket to the servo horn. Once you get it attached, it should look like this. Okay, so now we have the capability of panning, or saying no. We need to be able to take our other servo and servo bracket and figure out how to place it in order for us to be able to tilt or say yes. So in order to do that, this actually goes in here like this. And the push pin screws go in these 4 holes we talked about earlier, and then if we do this right, this goes like this, and we may even need to think about this or plug this in and make sure that it makes sense. We'd be able to say yes or no and yes. And we should also definitely compare what you're building to the model, and this is the same, to make sure that we're constructing this correctly as well. So, all right, moving forward, we first need to connect the C bracket to the multi-purpose servo bracket. So to do this, we need the washer to keep metal from rubbing on metal, the screw, and the acorn lock nut. We begin by taking the screw and putting it through the hole of the multi-purpose bracket. Then we put down a washer. Now we are going to want to put this C bracket on here like this, and then finish it up by putting the acorn lock nut on here. Now the Allen wrench is handy to tighten this. This is where the Allen wrench, the only time the Allen wrench and the needle nose pliers are needed. The Allen wrench fits into this hexagonal shaped top of the screw here, and then you want to take a needle nose pliers, hold the screw in place, and tighten this. Okay, there's no need to tighten it too much with the needle nose pliers and the Allen wrench. Just get it snug. Once again, before I drop this second servo in here, I want to make sure that I have this servo in neutral position. Okay, so we're not, if this is neutral, I'm going to pop this off and line it up so that we get full range of motion. It can be a little tricky, but I snapped it on there. So now we want to drop this servo in this multi-purpose bracket here. These go over that part, but under here. So there we go, just like that. Our C bracket is facing up like that. Now we want to take our 3 screws, the servo horn screw and the number 2 screws left over, and screw all 3 of these screws in. So these number 2 screws go in the servo horn, and I just dropped my screw that goes right there. So you may drop screws like I just did and spent 10 minutes looking for it, so be careful, guys. Okay, so the final step is, well, one of the final steps is to take your push-in fasteners, and if they're apart, push the top part in through the bottom part first, and then they just push in like push pins, like you're pushing pins into a bulletin board. So they just go like this, real easy. Tricky part is getting them out, and that's where your flathead screwdriver comes in. Actually, that's the only reason you have a flathead screwdriver in your kit, in case you need to disassemble. And then once these push pins are, 4 push pins are in, really truly we just have this head and mouth piece that we would just screw in to these top screws, and then your creature puppet should be able to test with servo testers, pan, tilt, and then the mouthpiece should work. So that's really how you assemble a pan and tilt kit. Actually, I think this should go this way, shouldn't it? Sorry, does that make sense? I'd have to plug these into my servo testers and make sure it all worked out like it needed to.